Hi, thanks for watching. I'm going to be reviewing We Shall Be Monsters by Tara Sim, and thanks to NetGalley for providing an eARC of this book. So the book opens with Kajal punching her way out of a coffin, and then opening the coffin next to her and stealing her dead sister's corpse and running out of town. It was a pretty intense way to start a book. It definitely had me hooked from the beginning. So Kajal has been doing research on how to bring the dead back to life by opening their chakras. There's a lot of Ayurvedic research done into this. And she's moving from place to place, trying to fly low under the radar. She has a hard time doing that, though, because of who she is. She's very brusque. She doesn't really like too many people. In fact, the only person that she ever really got along with was her sister. And in where we're starting is a couple months after that, after she takes her sister's body, and time is running out, because the way that it works in this world is that if you don't burn a body within 6 months, it becomes a bhuta, which is kind of like a banshee sort of entity that is angry and takes its anger out on people, usually the person closest to the person who died. And so she's running against the clock to try to find a way to bring her sister back to life. Well, she tries this method that she's been researching on a dead dog. I think it's Kuta. From then on out, there's this good boy undead dog that goes around with Kajal, which is great. You come to just absolutely adore the dog. Most everybody comes to adore the dog, and the dog is very loyal, and it has the ability to sense emotions, but it can't eat because she hadn't perfected her ability to bring things back from the dead. So the dog doesn't eat. She's found out by two rebels who are Vivan and Sazal, and they basically blackmail her, like, hey, we know who you are, we know what you're doing, we know what you want, you have to help us find the dead prince and bring him back to life, because the current ruler of the area is crazy, and he's a dictator, and he hates magic and witches and everything. Basically, he's making everybody's life miserable. So you're going to help us find the dead prince and bring him back to life. He died in battle. So Kajal and Kuta go with these two rebels to find the prince, and they go to this battlefield where there was this huge battle. People died. It was about 20 years prior, including the prince. And when she's trying to find the prince's body, she's led by some butterflies to a body, and she resurrects the prince and shows him to the rebels, who have taken her to a university to kind of help her further her studies, so that she can bring him back fully and completely. And when she resurrects the prince, it turns out that he's not the right prince. The prince in question had a twin that nobody knew about. And it turns out that the prince in question and the prince that she brought back to life were the Deva and the... Hold on. I have to read it down because there's a lot of things in here that are new to me. The Deva and the Asura. And the Deva is alleged to be like all of goodness and kindness and light, and the Asura is said to be dark and evil. And so the one that she's brought back is the Deva, and the one that they're still trying to find is the Asura. It's a really interesting book, and it was posited as Frankenstein meets Indian folklore. I can get kind of where they made the parallel to Frankenstein, in that they're trying to bring something that's not alive to life, but it's really where it ends with that. I think it leans more into the Indian folklore, which is really, really interesting. I'm trying not to give too much away, but I will say that the rebels aren't who you think they are. There's other people there too that are involved. There's Jassy, who is a professor at the university that Kajal has been taken to, and she says that Kajal is her sister, which is to try to alleviate any suspicion about why Kajal is there, because the Vadi work for Boxy, who is the current ruler, and the Vadi, if they realize who Kajal is, they'll kill her, and Kajal is kind of irked about this because her sister is Lassia, and Lassia is dead. She's trying to bring Lassia back to life, and then there's, of course, the it girl, who is Vitrika, I believe you pronounce her name. And she has these two friends who are always like, they're the parrots. Vitrika says yes, and they say yes, yes. But one of those girls is found by Kajal after curfew with one of the Vadi, and she kind of backs away, and she's like, I'm not going to tell anybody, I didn't see anything. But her sister has started the turning into a Buddha, and she shows up and kills this girl, and nobody really quite knows that it's a Buddha for sure, but Vitrika suspects it because Vitrika comes from a demon hunter family, and she's there to hone her demon hunter skills. That's why she's at the university. When the rebels find out that the prince that she has resurrected is not the prince that she was supposed to resurrect. She resurrected Tav, and she was supposed to resurrect Advaith, who was the crown prince. They're like, you're gonna find Advaith, and you're going to resurrect him. And they give her sister's pinky, which they cut off her sister's corpse to kind of tell her, hey, you're gonna do this. This isn't gonna work. You're not gonna trick us with his twin. So her and Tav, which is the prince who is not the prince in question, go looking for Advaith, who is the crown prince, and they find his torso. They find a part of his body. There's no head, and then like the waist down is gone. But there's still heartbeat, which is curious to Kajal. And it turns out that the Asura, back when the Deva and the Asura were first created, the Asura got like a small tiny bit of immortality put in them, which is why there's still a heartbeat even though Advaith is dead. And so they go looking for the head, and the bottom half, as well as the rebels, who at this point we have found out who they really are. And it's just a really interesting story. I mean, I was so captivated by this. I flew through this book, and it was completely captivating to me. There's a lot of things in there, that in our culture we are not familiar with. But it was so interesting. So if you're looking for something a little bit different in your fantasy that kind of gets away from like dragons and fairies and hobbits and elves, and if you're looking for something just a little bit different to kind of put yourself in a different culture's fantasy, this is it. It was really interesting. It was really dark in some places, definitely disturbing. You know, a torso with a heartbeat without a head. You know, an undead dog. It was really, really interesting, and that undead dog was great. I loved Kuta. I wish I had a Kuta. But I love my dogs. They eat a lot and they bark a lot and they smell sometimes. But I love my dogs. But I would also take Kuta, and then we'd have 3 dogs. But it was a really good book. So thanks again to NetGalley for providing this amazing story. I am probably going to end up purchasing it when it comes out. And also, I don't think I've ever heard of this author before, but I do see that she has other books. Some of them I think are trilogies. I think she has 2 trilogies, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm going to go buy those and read those eventually, once I get through all of these eARCs that I went crazy on. So thanks so much for watching.